incredible life story of Dick Gregory to film, I was vastly unaware of the immense complexity behind Dick Gregory's brand of humor. Throughout his life, Dick Gregory was often made an example of, sometimes by his own design. Black folks projected our woes onto him, and white folks cherished or reviled him for shining a mirror on their own prejudice. For me, the personal experiences of Dick Gregory were like listening to a walking history lesson. It took only a few hours into my journey to make this film for me to realize that Dick Gregory was one of a kind, and I became totally consumed. In 1975, Dick Gregory quit comedy, staging his last nightclub performance at Paul's Mall in Boston, Massachusetts. The announcer who introduced Dick Gregory read a letter from his publicist, Steve Jaffe, that highlighted the power of his contributions to society. One passage went like this: "No man has given more, asked less, or been more needed." Albeit only a brief summation of the gifts of Dick Gregory, I can think of no more prescient a phrase to describe what he would come to mean to the world. Dick Gregory is often credited as being a civil rights activist, and although it may have started that way, civil rights, like comedy, was never his terminus. Yes, he was an activist, but more appropriately, he was an advocate and protector of human rights. Thus, when the time came to create a graphic for the poster to represent the film, none was more fitting than that of Dick Gregory, sitting center stage, illuminated by infinite silhouettes of himself in the different colors of the rainbow. The array of colors represents to me not only the many lives that Dick Gregory lived, but also his aura. While he walked the earth as a black man, talked and thought as a black man, he could feel like every man, and his spirit, heart, and empathy toward all mankind are what made him the great teacher, guru, advisor, and friend he became to me and the world. When you combine all of those colors together, it produces the white light as projected by the sun, and no one better understood the power of the sun or how to use it as a force of good and righteousness than Dick Gregory. Andre Gaines, producer and director, the one and only Dick Gregory.
Letter from the editor. What a life. What a blessing. Dick Gregory was many things. He metamorphosed from athlete to comedian to activist to presidential candidate to nutritionist to social critic, at no point leaving behind the nucleus holding him together. Love. Love. Love for self, love for thy neighbor, love for humankind, love for nature was the engine that powered his many manifestations. Metamorphosis is a change of the form or nature of a thing or person into a completely different one by natural or supernatural means. It's typically brought about by both internal and external forces. The sum of these forces produces a new manifestation that advances its previous form. At every iteration, Dick Gregory was passionate about life, laughter, and equality. There was not a righteous movement in his lifetime that his blood, sweat, or tears didn't impact. His activism was rooted in love and dignity. Richard Claxton Gregory's life was incredibly well lived. My colleagues and I studied his mind like the science it often was. We've extrapolated from his lifetime the building blocks and experiences that help explain his unyielding life of service. Generations will delve into his sacrifice, comedic genius, focus, and aptitude. Civil rights, women's rights, children's rights, human rights, disabled rights, animal rights. Dick Gregory's DNA is on virtually every movement for fairness and equality for all living things on this planet. He taught us the power of love by example. Dick Gregory was always busy, but never hurried. He made time for everyone and almost everything. He wrote a lot, but talked more. He left us so much to pore over, including 16 books, 12 albums, hundreds of interviews and syndicated news columns, and hundreds of hours of archival footage. The challenge we faced was whittling down this extraordinary amount of material to present it in a succinct structure. We were able to organize this book